Okay, so welcome back to another episode of Load of Balls, Average Golfer testing out golf balls, and well and truly right into it now. We're sort of whatever it is, 6 episodes, 7 episodes in, and hopefully you're getting there. We've reviewed so far some very strong balls and perhaps slightly higher price points and balls that you would expect to perform. There's been certainly differences between them in terms of performance, but only minor differences. And in the weeks ahead, we've got a couple of balls now that I'm going to look at. This is still back up there, that premium end, and we're going to drop down to a lower price point and see now how they start to perform and whether. So stick around. It's not all about high-end, high-priced golf balls, because to a large degree, everything we've done so far has been in that kind of category. Anyway, today's ball is the Snell My Tour Ball MTB. Interesting one this for me, because the guy who invented this golf ball, and I'm just going to go back to the information I'll read from here, the guy Dean Snell, 28 years experience working in research and development for companies like Titleist, TaylorMade. Dean's name is now on 40 ball patents and is the inventor or co-inventor of the Pro V1, the Penta and the Tour Preferred. So that's a fair bit of clout in terms of what he's done, and that's impressive. So the guy sets up a company. He wants to make golf balls same high quality as the Pro V1, same performance, but he wants to make them direct to consumer, doesn't want to sell through distribution, in order to provide a high class quality golf ball at a lower price point. So let's see if he did that. We're going to start off as ever. We're going to start off with the wedge shot. So 47, 48 degree wedge. I can't remember what the Mac Daddy 4 is now that I was using. All pill into the wind. We've seen this green before. First shot that goes in, slightly left, pitches onto the green. A little bit of fizz on that one, comes back. And then the second ball that you're watching, I'm all over the place with this wedge. Right hand side of the green, again, fair bit of zip on it. So it performs certainly as you'd expect into this green. Again, very similar to what we've seen with a number of other balls so far. Then again, we've seen this shot on a few occasions now. This is so 52 degree wedge, 30-yard chip shot, lower ball flight. And again, what I like about both shots is it does a very similar thing, and I've spoken about this on a number of occasions. For me, no matter what ball you choose, I think what I'm learning from this whole golf ball testing is there are a number of balls that I would say have performed very, very well. But I think the key is for me personally moving forward is to stick with one ball type and get used to how that ball reacts in different scenarios. So in other words, you want that consistent performance, so you know exactly what that golf ball is going to do. So that's something that I'm learning personally from all of this. But what the Snell ball does in terms of the 52 degree wedge, I think is really impressive. Pick a landing spot, kind of checks up, you can see that on the greens, and releases. And I think, like I said, really consistent in what it did. I'm going to talk about it, but again, subjectively, is the putter. I find with the premium balls, and I'd say this, I've not done the review on the Pro V1X in particular, or the TP5X, I find them just a little bit too hard for me. But again, that is, like I said, it's very much a personal thing, but I do notice it straight away, and I notice it more with the putter. It just becomes that, I think even, you know, just that little bit clickier, whereas I prefer, and I've said it in previous videos, a slightly softer feel. And so I would say that the Snell ball produces similar sort of feel and contact and noise that a Pro V1X would do, or a TP5X. So I mean, that's, you know, that's credible. So if you like that type of ball, that's the kind of feel that I suggest you're getting out of it in terms of around the putter. Right, next thing, dry ball data. Said it before, I think I've seen a lot of similarities in terms of dry ball data, yet again with these balls that the balls we've reviewed so far in this particular price bracket. Not a lot to split them in dry ball, but again, have to say Snell ball performed very, very well. Club head speed, wedge first of all, averaging 9.3 spin, really good number. Everything maintained very consistent. The one thing I noticed, and it's a real interesting one, and I don't know, this is a small amount of data in terms of the shots, but on both pitch and wedge and 7-iron, the only thing I noticed with this ball is a variance in launch angle. Now, obviously, a lot of this is down to strike, and it could well be. It was just the way I impacted on the ball. But what we've seen, to be fair, in all the other testing, is that launch angles remain fairly stable with my swing. But yeah, arguably, I don't really understand why. And if you look at launch angle, it varies from 25 and then as high as 30. I suppose in the main, it averages out around that 25. But then you go to 7-iron distances, and you see again 18.7, then up to 22 with, I'm sure, like I said, there's a lot more to do with strike than the ball, but that was something I noticed within the dry ball numbers. But 5-4 spin, 7-iron, once again, all know my numbers hopefully by now. 5-4 spin with a 7-iron is a good number, and shot number 1, 6,100 spin, incredibly high for me with 7-iron. So on all those levels, it performed very, very well indeed. Ball away, because it keeps I'm throwing my concentration on looking at this ball instead of the screen. Anyway, I'm going to get ball back out a minute, because this is one thing I want to talk about. Let's get into the scoring first of all. Dry ball data, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. It's hard to argue, like I said, I've seen very little differences in dry ball data, but it performed very, very well indeed. I've got to give it a 9 out of 10 for the numbers that it performed. Arguably, like I said, I'd like to hit over a wider spread, and if I've seen that launch angle changing on a number of occasions, maybe that would be a little bit lower, but on the 5 shots that I hit, I've got to be fair, so give it a 9 out of 10. On to feel, and again, you sort of heard my comments about this, about it being a very much a personal thing, is that I'm going to say very, very quickly, I'm going to score at 7.5 simply because I found it too hard on the putter. I didn't like the sound, and I just found it too hard. But like I said, in the same way that I would criticise a top-end ball such as a Pro V1X, a TP5X, it's not the kind of feel that I like from a golf ball. Now, the value thing is the one I've brought the box back for. The packaging, and this is, don't get me wrong, this is not relevant, but I think it goes into, the packaging sort of is, it's okay, it's packaged, and the actual finish of the golf ball, I think is okay. But I think when you're talking about pricing a ball up in the top end of this sort of marketplace, I think everything's got to look bang on, and I'm not quite sure it's got that in terms of packaging and visuals, the way the ball looks for me. And maybe, like I said, it's a very minor detail, but they're charging, in the main, it's £30 a dozen in the UK, and then you're paying £2.99 shipping costs, so it's £33 a dozen in terms of getting this ball, 12 of these balls delivered in the UK. From what I've seen in the US, it's a similar sort of story. My issue with that is that if you're going to bring a brand to market, as in a new golf ball that nobody's heard of before, yes, ultimately it's all about performance, but for me the price point should have been lower, and the price point might have attracted a few more golfers to try these out, because at 33 quid you're competing with some companies that already have a tried and tested performance, reputation. So, you know, you're going in against the likes of the Callaway Chromesoft X, for example, and Chromesoft that has just been released again now. Newer versions of that, and I think for me a consumer might be drawn more to the known brand than it would be to the Snell golf ball when it's talking about paying the same money. So for me it's too expensive, and it should have been pitched in at a lower price. But that's, again, I'm not here to talk about how Snell golf balls should be priced, but for me, if I looked at those on the shelf at 30 quid, or they're not on the shelf, 33 quid delivered to me, and I can buy a ball that I trust and know of already, I'd go down the trusted option, I'm afraid. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 7.5. Because performance is the next thing, and I'm going to score it a 9 out of 10 for performance. Because what I've seen out there on the course, I can understand that this guy has been responsible for the golf balls he's designed. It is a very, very good performing golf ball in all aspects of the game, and I played this again for a couple of months actually, and on different rounds. It performs well. I say it falls down in feel for me personally to play the game or game the ball. And overall, it gets 8.25 and it puts it into 4th place on our leaderboard. Overall assessment is this: I suppose, as ever, ball testing is subjective. You've got some information from me. Most of the comments that I've made during this video are probably just a personal opinion on it rather than factual. And like I said, some of the things that sort of guide me away from it is mainly this pricing issue, to be perfectly frank, and the not knowing and heard of this ball too much before. But what I see in terms of other reviews it's had, it's done very, very well indeed. So I wouldn't be put off by it yourself, and if you're prepared to pay that 33 quid a dozen to get them delivered, then give them a go and see what you think. As ever, stick your comments down below, because what I've liked in recent weeks is I've had a lot of feedback on what your experiences are with the golf balls. Some different than mine, some have agreed with mine, but I just think that's a bigger help than just one voice of me telling you what I think. If you see a lot of comments saying a similar sort of thing, then it's a better guide to the other people who are watching the channel and other golfers. So it just helps this whole thing out a bit. So if you've used them, comments down below. As ever, thumbs up. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you very, very soon.